welcome to the Speaker Salon's YouTube channel, Melisha. You honored me as one of my first branding clients, and we've known each other from the health freedom movement for a few years now. And so, for people who are just tuning in, I'm Alana Newman. I help speakers, authors, and entrepreneurs with my art school background. And my guest today is Melisha Dooley, who has been a woman that I've admired for many years and who I've worked with for different projects. And so Melisha's got a new business, property management business, doing short-term rentals, and she's building an empire in the South. So
Yes.
Melisha, let's just start like with who you are and where you come from, and you're a mom of six, and you're building this amazing brand.
Okay. Well, first of all, you and I have known each other for almost a decade now, so it's
Don't
more
tell
than a
them
few years.
that.
It's more than a few years. But we could say we've actively worked together for almost 5 years, and it's always fun. And I always love what you do and how you do it. And you're always inspirational to me because I think you and I are like we're kind of polar opposites, but we're like definitely like opposites attract for sure. So I love
I'm
that.
just an introvert, and you're the life of the party.
A total opposite, but I'm like, I'm so drawn to you, always have been. So, like you mentioned, I'm a mom of six, and so might as well say I got a divorce a few years ago after being a stay-at-home mom for 25, 6, 7, 8 years, who knows, a long time. But during that time, I helped run the business that we had. So I acquired a lot of soft skills, and I think I was kind of always drawn to like marketing because way back in the day I was, oh, we're gonna do t-shirts and let's have a logo and let's make it all pretty. I think I've always been drawn to that as let's make it pretty. It doesn't have to be expensive, but like just make it pretty. So recently I've started, as you mentioned, a short-term rental, which is most people recognize as Airbnb, Verbo. Those are short-term rentals. Hotels are short-term rentals. And it's always something that I was drawn to was rentals. But I really, really like the short term rental space because it generates a lot more income. And so I tried my hand at it as a suggestion to a friend of mine who had this empty pool house who was in between career changes and needed some money. And he had this beautiful pool house with tools in it and nothing else, and like blinds, mini blinds. And I said, well, why don't we, list this as an Airbnb? Yeah. He was like, no, no. I was like, I'm telling you, it's going to do great. And it did great. So I kind of dipped my toe in really just as like helping out someone and realized the potential so quickly. And it was something I always wanted to do. And so my mother and I went into business together and we started our first property together. And as you mentioned, this is definitely something that I really enjoy it. I really like, I don't meet my guests, but I talk to a lot of guests and just, you still get to know people, and it makes you feel really good when they come into town. And a lot of times where I am, it's for a funeral or something like that. And just to know that you made their time here comfortable and, cozy, and they'll leave you sweet notes and things like that. I really, really enjoy it. So, right now I've grown my management business to three. So I have three clients and I'm about to start on the fourth. And so that's whenever you and I collaborated to really just take this to the next level, which is what I was wanting to do. But
Yeah.
I was stuck. I was
Yeah.
stuck because I want to build my own properties, but then was the management side I enjoy and it brings in income. So, but I was kind of like stuck with all these things I wanted to do all at the same time. And that's where you came in.
I just gotta say, short-term rentals have saved my life at different junctures. I used to live in downtown San Francisco, and I had this really bad breakup, and I was devastated and lonely. And then at that moment in time, couchsurfing.com was a thing. This was like the precursor to Airbnb.
Yeah. Wow.
And couchsurfing was free, and people would just, you would, if you wanted to travel but you didn't want to pay a lot of money, you would go on couchsurfing.com, and like people would give you their couch and you didn't have to pay for hotels or anything. And it sounds kind of risky, and eventually it became risky, but like that got me out of my depression because I was meeting new people, showing them the beauty of my town, and it got me out of the rut, just having like wanting to create good experiences for my guests. And then when my divorce And then there was like a health crisis thing, and I couldn't pay my mortgage, and so I Airbnb'd my house, and that like saved the house. It was like it was life saving the fact that we were able to do that, but it was a lot to do in a short period of time. And you help people. It could be crisis, or it could just be help them with passive income. But people have bills to pay, and this is a really great
Yeah.
business
Yeah.
model.
Yeah. And I think what I would like to do, or what my message is going to be, is that a lot of people think about it and they're like, oh, well, no, it seems complicated, or they don't think it's going to make money or whatever. So that's where I want to come in to at least let me evaluate the situation. Like I mentioned, the first Airbnb that I had any experience with, the same thing. It was a transition between careers, desperately needed money. You have this great space, and it did quite well,
Yeah,
like immediately. So yeah, they can be really great. And that space is a shared space, and that's unique because obviously you share that space. So it is nice to get to meet the people that come through, and you get to be more of a part of that, which,
yeah,
so there's many different facets to this. And like I said, I really enjoy it because you can do it many different ways, and, and be successful
yeah.
on that
There's
space.
always demand for shelter.
Mm-hmm.
So when you first decided to do property management, Airbnb, short-term rentals, what were some of the biggest challenges and frustrations that you were facing getting going? And you're still kind of getting going, but like, what's been, what was the first big, oh, I gotta take care of this?
Okay. So the biggest hurdle or frustration was when I first started my own business. So it was a true business investment. So we had to find a home in the right place, in the right market. And then, the process of buying a home. And thank goodness, things do go wrong, but it was a pretty smooth process, but it was still a lot undertaking. But
Yeah.
then just all the things that you don't realize have to be done to start your own short-term rental business. And that's where someone like me would really help, because I could help streamline those things, because I did have the huge learning curve of, everything from, getting the house really clean to just really stocking a home and thinking about those things. Wait, like, what do you need versus what don't you need? Because you're just completely starting from scratch. And it
Right.
has to be guest ready from day one. So it's a
Right.
learning curve. But it wasn't. I enjoyed it. We were on a bit of a time crunch, which that was a little bit nerve wracking. But other than that, it went really well.
Yeah, there's so many products out there to choose from. Like just knowing like, oh, that company's junk versus that company's reliable, and you can just set it and forget about it. Like I've
Yeah.
noticed there's stuff like that.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Little
because with me not knowing anything about it other than, you just, oh, you have Airbnb. And then it was like, oh, well, then we'll do Verbo. And then I realized there's this whole other world of all these channels if you really want to make this a business venture, and then automation. So I didn't know anything about any of that. And I don't think a lot of people know about how you automate the business where it makes money and it makes everything seamless. And especially if you have a property, our property did quite well. And when you start having, I think we've already had 100 guests. 100, it was way over that. In about a year and a half, we're a little bit longer than that. That's a lot of people for one
Yeah,
person to manage. So that's when you realize, I've got to do this smart. I've got to be streamlined. I've got to be, very professional, to where it doesn't become more work. I'm trying to gain passive income, not
create another job for yourself.
the job, right?
Yeah,
Even though in and of itself, but like I said, but that's where the property manager comes in for me. I realized, if I had someone as dependable as me to do what I did, and I had a space, that would be definitely something that I would. Well, that's what my clients do. They're like, "Whew, I don't want to take care of all that. I want you to do it." It is a
yeah,
lot of work, especially if you don't know what you're doing.
right. And the premium on the short-term rentals is the best. Like you get the most money per night. But then you got to take care of cleaning. You got to take care. There's a lot more communication, and yeah,
Yeah, like I said, that's where the automation comes in hand, and that can be a little bit tricky. If people don't really kind of know what they're getting into as well. Like I said, I love it. It's nothing's rocket science, but there's a lot of moving parts, I think, which can be overwhelming or intimidating for people, if you really want to expand. So
yeah. I think it feels like with property management that allows people to scale.
yeah,
So
Definitely.
or it allows for life to happen. Like you can get sick, you can go on vacation, you can you can't scale without a property manager.
Right.
That seems to be the
And
big,
yeah, and systems and multiple systems in place. You know, like I said, there right. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. All those products are there and those systems are there and those companies are there. But like you said, there is, okay, this one's garbage. This one's, doesn't work well, or this one's too expensive. And so yeah, I mean, it's been a huge learning curve for me.
yeah. All right, what was missing from your original brand and the visual identity that kind of, now that we've really thought about that, how has it helped and given giving you more confidence moving forward?
Oh, 100. I mean, I have the confidence in my own skills, but I didn't have any confidence to really put myself out there. I mean, I didn't really have a brand. I mean, I had a name, but that
Yeah.
was about it. And I think I'd created my little logo and stuff. But I think you even said it. You were like, it kind of looks like Christmas. And I was like, she's right. It wasn't bad, but it was not good. And like I said, I didn't have any kind of direction. And obviously, I mean, I do know enough about marketing and those things that you need to look a certain way. So it was holding me back. I've had my website for almost a year, and it has been that long because I didn't feel confident to
Sure, yeah.
put everything out there and on all the socials, because I know the steps of how to do it, but I didn't have the tools to do it. And so it definitely was holding me back. And so now I definitely have more, well, I mean, I have 100%, I have confidence that it looks professional. And really, I mean, you gave me a complete direction, because I mentioned that before. I had all these different things I wanted to do. And because I told you, I was like, wait a minute, like, am I supposed to do this with this or that with that? And you're like, okay, just hold on. Let me get everything together, because it was just all kind of like jumbled up in my head, what I wanted to do,
Yeah.
because this is a step-by-step process. I do want to build an empire, and I have to start somewhere. I just didn't know quite where to start. So I was
Yeah.
kind of spinning my wheels, and a little bit here and a little bit there, but I wasn't really sure about that. And anyway, so when we got together, it really helped me to kind of get everything out and onto paper, which
Yeah.
is to me the first start.
Yeah. The plan. I'm gonna put kind of the before and after, like the makeover on this video. And
That's embarrassing. No, I'm
it's
just kidding.
not embarrassing, but when we did the interview, because I like to start with interviews, I wanted to get an idea of where you wanted to go long term with it. And the logo that you had made, it was like clean and it was attractive, but it was like the A-frame cabin,
Mhm.
because that's where your mind was going first.
Yeah,
But I wanted to know, like, is that all you want to do with your life, is the A-frame cabins?
yeah,
What's beyond the A-frame cabins? What's beyond?
yeah.
And so in our process, we it I wanted something that, in case you ever go like bridal venue, in case you ever go just bigger, it can encapsulate a more grand luxury experience. And I think that's what we achieved.
Definitely. Well, I mean, if you really think about it, so even for myself, I really didn't know what I wanted to do or where I was going. I created that last year when I was just getting started, and kind of, like I said, I knew I wanted to build some cabins, the A-frame cabins for myself. But I've grown so much since then, and I didn't even realize that. And so that's what you did for me. You were looking at what I was doing since last year when I created that, and you were kind of like, well, look, this is where you showed me where I had already been, not even realizing what all I had done and where
Yeah.
I was going. And then you helped me to see where I could be.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
That was the goal. That was the goal. And I love the storybook. Like when we were doing the interview, you used words like storybook and romance and just home and and the Southern comfort, and like you are like the friendliest person. You've got all these kids and the most beautiful daughters in the world. Like you have the smartest, most beautiful daughters. And I just envisioned these like beautiful 20 something women in the prime of their life, like having babies and
Yeah.
being just, and I just like we got to leave room in here for those kinds of moments, where you're really, and they're cinematographers and photographers and just capturing
Yeah.
the joy of like that kind of moment in time where, and so I'll put all the images and the brand identity guidelines in that we came up with in here, but I think that we really did make room for that.
Hmm.
And
Definitely.
and I know that the property owners would love to be a part of that energy too. I mean, there's so much suffering in the world, but to create space where you can like make memories happen and bring your family and feel safe and capture moments, like that's kind of the real romance behind these vacation rentals. It's
Yeah.
like it's so much bigger than just needing a roof over your head.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, and like the property's called the Oasis in the Country. For people that live in the city, we're rural where we are. And when you have children that grow up in the city and they don't even really have a yard, and they come up and there's a really nice pool, there's a lake behind it, and with a big pier, and they can fish and they can swim, and just to see them just thrive and just have a wonderful time. And come and we recently added a nice farmers market up here, and people come up and they go to the farmers market, just like you said, things that aren't, it's not Disney World, but
Yeah.
these kids are having so much fun. And then of course, as the parents are just like, this is so wonderful, this is, thank you for sharing your space with us, because they come up and have such a wonderful time. Like you said, and that's really what life's about, right, is sharing time with our loved ones. And we don't have to spend a lot of money, or go to Disney World or any of those places like that. I think that's what people miss out on, is that we have these big expectations, and we don't need any of those things. We just need a little bit of time together in the quiet, and enjoying life to really, I think find to be joyful and have a happy, childhood and things like that. And then you, like you mentioned, the memories, and then you look back and you're like, oh, remember that one time we went to this little place called whatever, because my mother has a cabin in Tennessee, and I manage that one as well. The same thing. It's just this little spot, cozy cabin with a little creek in the middle of kind of nowhere. But when every time people get there, they're like, "Oh my goodness, this is so wonderful. We've had such a great time." And that is a wonderful feeling, that
Yeah.
to know that people have enjoyed themselves in the space that you love. And like you said, it's the sharing of that space. And I really like doing that for people.
There's this phrase I came across. There's this guy named Ed Meads, I think, but he calls it nature deprivation syndrome. And he says
Mm,
most people today suffer from nature deprivation syndrome. And I think the properties that I've seen from you that you work on, they solve that syndrome. It's you've got your shelter, but there's like nature and just coziness and human connection and getting back with that kind of
yeah,
the
yeah,
divine.
yeah.
So
And my newest client, it'll be this. It's the same way. So, like I said, I'm realizing that that's what I would like to build my portfolio with. I mean, I would like to help anybody, because I think you can do anything anywhere, but it's the same thing, right? Where you're just by any type of water and outside, and there's grass and there's peace and quiet, that's always going to bring people, to some type of restoration. Like I believe that. I know
yeah.
when I go to the city for a few days, I'm ready to come home. I'm ready to see some grass. I'm ready to put my feet on it. See the
Yeah.
animals, things like that. So, and that's another thing. I like a lot of the properties that I manage are all pet friendly, because everybody wants to bring their baby, the fur babies, with them too. So that's nice to know that you can bring everybody. You bring the whole family, and you can have a great time, because these poor animals are probably nature deprived as well, right? They're in the city, and then they come, they're like, whoa, they're having a great time.
I just absolutely. There's this guy I saw. He has a $200,000 a year dog walking business in New York, and he goes to these New York City apartments, puts like 20 dogs in a van, takes them out to some state park, and he just like lets them roam for a few
Oh,
hours, and then he brings the dogs back to these New York apartments, and they're so happy, and we need that. We
That's
need to take
funny. Yeah.
trips.
Yeah, we do because, like I said, like with the lake, I'll laugh and this one person they had two dogs and they were city dogs, and they were all in the lake and they're getting all nasty, and I was like, you know what happens in the country stays in the country, because they were just like never experienced anything
Yeah.
like that, and they were just having the best time, So yeah, we all need it. We all need it, right?
We all need, yep. Trips are fun. So one of the first things that we built for Topisaw Creek Vacation Rentals was your quiz. It's the Airbnb success quiz.
Yeah.
So let's talk about like lead generation and helping, connecting with the right people. So you're just starting to use that quiz. How is it going for you and all that?
Well, I haven't used the quiz yet because that's how busy I am. But I will say that that is, I think that's my favorite thing is the quiz, is the just the graphic that you even created for it. That whole thing like inspired me. Well, it did inspire me because now I've realized my next venture is going to be coaching, is going to be property management coaching for people that want to get, because there was this homeschool family here, and her mother mentioned that she was, wanting to get into, and she was kind of picking my brain the other day, and I didn't quite know what to tell her because she's like, well, how do you know how to do all that? And I was like, and I was thinking, well, I mean, I can't just tell you in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then when I saw, the quiz and everything, I think that's definitely a direction I would like to do as well, is teach people how to manage, not because some people don't want to own them. They just want to manage for other people, as a career path. So when I say that you have truly helped me, I'm like, said, I started here and this is where I am now, and who knows where it ends. So that's what the quiz did for me. It really helped me to see, that's what I'd like to do is, help people unlock Airbnb success
Yeah.
as a property manager as well. So I'm gonna, I'm gonna manage properties. I want to have my own properties, and then I'm gonna also coach people how to manage other people's properties as
You'd be
well.
a great coach. And you've got so much teaching experience teaching your 6 kids.
Yeah,
Homeschooling's no joke.
I taught dance too.
You did?
I taught dance for about 6 years before I had Genevieve, which was my fourth child, preschool through second grade. It was such ballet.
I didn't know that.
Yes,
That's
yes, yes,
awesome.
yes. I have a dance background, ballet for
Oh
sure.
my gosh. No wonder you're so graceful.
That's what it is. But yeah, so yeah, I do. I like I said, and I am enthusiastic about it, and always that I think helps translate. But I think there's definitely, I know that the short-term rental space is it's exploding. It's just growing,
Yeah.
growing, 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 and and one of the things that I've noticed is, so in the very beginning, the reason why I know there's such a need to teach the management side is because these big companies came in. I'm not going to name their names, and manage for a cheap price. And that is one of the reasons why we are seeing Airbnbs go under all the be banned, like in HOAs and these city restrictions. It's because they weren't being managed properly. So, which is terrible because these properties can be such a value to the community. Just the fact that the home is going to be taken care of immaculately. So there is a move away to like boutique property management. Small, just people having, I don't know how many properties, but I mean anything from, I guess, 2 to 10, 100, whatever it is, but just not these big mega companies that literally do not take care of their guests. They're just there to get the commission. I heard a horror story. There was this one, and this is a person that I know or know of. Um, they were had a mountain cabin, and they had a well, and the well would run out of water. And the management company forgot to tell the homeowners. So they're sort of getting all these terrible ratings and having to refund because people would run out of water, which I would be pretty upset too, because most of it's run by AI and things like that. So there's that human touch, the fact that like I care about anyone the properties that I take care of. I know the property owners. I'm going to take care of them. I want the guests to be taken care of. So I think there's going to be an even greater need for property management. These like boutique, just small companies that are just managing, things in a much more exclusive level to give people that
Yeah.
a good experience, you know.
Yeah.
I know another time somebody else said it, one of those, they couldn't find the property. It was late at night. They gave them the housekeeper's phone number. They just basically passed the buck. They're like, sorry, we can't help you. Can't help you find it, because the directions they gave didn't bring them to the cabin. It was 9 o'clock at night. You know, so that's not what you want for a guest, you know. So all that to say that that's what the quiz kind of brought me to, was like when you framed it that way, and I liked the quiz, I was like, you know what? I really see the need for the property management coaching as well. So
Yeah.
see, I'm already branching out.
It's gonna work. It already is working, but
Yeah.
the um people do not like anonymous. No, with the human touch is gonna be even more important
Yeah.
for this new phase of life, because people are willing to pay for it, to have like someone to call.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, like I said, I think that niche is definitely it's we're there, and it's just only going to grow. So I'm excited. I'm excited about that too. So, and
Yeah.
like I said, that was all part of the branding that you guys did for me, and it just really, it really did. It really truly inspired me. I think I wrote on your review because that's what I thought. It was like going to therapy. I had all these things in my head, and I was thinking about this, thinking about that. I was confused. I was excited. Then I'd be overwhelmed, and I didn't know where to start, and then I'd be excited. And when you sat down and wrote my whole plan out, and then it was beautiful as well, which I love. It really helped me just be like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. You know.
Yeah.
So I can't sing your praises enough.
Well, thank you. Michael came up with this crane icon that I think has been the centerpiece of everything. So let's talk about the importance of the crane for how it represents Mississippi and everything. Like,
Those
okay.
well, so it's a well, mine is my favorite color, which is green, and that's I think that was when you and I really, when things really became cohesive too. I started sending you snapshots of things at my home, you
Yeah,
know, like what I like. And that hair, it's a blue heron, and they're everywhere around here. And
herring.
everywhere down the
Sorry.
down. Well, I think they're in the crane family, but they're everywhere down here. And I've always liked those as well. I have a fountain outside that's made out of copper, and it's got the blue heron in it, and they're always in the back in my pond. You see them at the creek, um, and I had even thought about using that for my property when I do my own thing back, you know, on my own place. And so when I saw that, I was like, oh. And I think that they mean it's they're kind of like a sign of um what do they? It's like not good luck. That's not what I mean. They usually represent like not hospitality, but like welcome.
Oh,
Um, they're a sign of like good fortune and things like that, which is
yeah.
something I recognized later. Well, I think I'd looked into it one time. So when I saw the heron in my favorite color, I was like, oh my god, it's perfect.
Yeah.
That was like absolutely perfect for me, because it is a very southern, you know, motif as well around here for sure.
Yeah. And they're captivating. If you see a heron in real life, you just stop in your tracks and watch it, because you
Yeah,
know it's special.
yeah, and they're graceful, and they're beautiful and quiet.
Yeah, and free. They're
Hmm.
they just glide, and there's just a piece about them that is really special. So I think that is perfect for everything that you're building. Just that
Oh, I
freedom,
love
that
it.
peace.
Yes, it was perfect. When I saw that, I was like,
Yeah.
I did. I was like, it's perfect. I knew it. I was like, it's perfect, perfect fit for me. Um, and then you mentioned it's the color palette and everything was I love it. I love it. And of course I do love green. That's one of my favorite colors. But I
Yeah.
love color in general. Um
Well, I
so
wanted a color that you looked good in, and we know each other well enough that I was like, you put that logo on any photo she takes, and it's gonna flatter her. You
Oh,
know.
I love green. I wear it all the time, but today I didn't. But I usually wear green or
Well,
green.
I wore kind of your green.
You did. I was like, wait a minute.
For you.
I wanted something pretty for the camera for my sleeves.
It's friendly. I love it.
Yeah, it's cotton. My cotton dress. So.
Right, which is very on brand for you to wear cotton
Yeah,
dresses. I think we
yeah.
even included that. So,
You did. You did. But when you did, I was like, that is so me. That is so. I love it. It's almost like you know me a lot.
I try
Just a
to.
little. Just a
There's
little.
You're definitely worth knowing.
Oh, goes that way.
So, looking back, what's the biggest mindset shift that you've had in building all this? So, before you engaged with someone who's like does branding for a living versus now, the mindset shift where you're like, "Oh, and that you'll take with you."
Well, like I mentioned before, I think before everything was in my head and I was confused and just whenever I saw the plan, it was like everything clicked for me. I mean, I don't know if I really had a mindset before, to be honest, but that's what I'm saying. It was like I was just kind of, and I am spread thin these days with, like I said, trying to work and get my, stay on top of my property management and grow that. So that's what it did for me because I am so busy. It really helped me see what it is that I need to do. So that was
Yeah.
the mindset. Okay, this is what I need to do. This is how I'm going to execute it. Because you do put that in your plan of, you do give templates for your social media and things like that. And I think I'm relatively social media
Yeah,
savvy,
you are.
but it's still a lot when you're trying to juggle different things. And so it just helped me really have a clear direction. And this, we're going to do this on this. This goes with this because you gave me different logos for different channels and different things and, suggestions and how to keep it all on brand. And because in the very beginning, even for me, like I said, I'm not really a novice. It's still overwhelming. So it's so good to have everything in place, what goes with what, having a script, because then from there, you can kind of pick up. But in the beginning, you're just like, it is kind of like, please just tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Somebody just tell me what to do for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then it will just become habit. And you start to know your own voice and your own branding. And then you can just go from there. But
Right.
that's a huge mindset shift for me. Didn't have one to now I do.
Well, there's so many decisions that have to be made. So if we can just quicken that and do a uh time capsule shorten, time length shorten where you just all those decisions are made faster, you can actually get to the cash flow part sooner. So,
Right.
yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
So that makes it just takes a lot of stress off of everything
Yeah.
for sure.
All right, my last question is if another business owner is feeling stuck or invisible, what would you tell them about the value in investing in their brand and in themselves?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, that's all we have is ourselves, and that I would definitely just relate to what like I mentioned with you. I was stuck. I was there, and that was what branding helped me do was really realize my potential and give me the tools to do it. And so that if you feel stuck, definitely. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's brand therapy. Just like if you're emotionally stuck and you're struggling with some type of situation, you need help. And sometimes it just got to talk to somebody and somebody can help you get the big picture and give you the tools to get there. So it will definitely help you get out of a rut for sure.
Awesome. Thank you for doing this interview. For all the people out there on YouTube, Melisha's links are down below so you can hire her as a property manager or a coach. We'll link to brand therapy, my school group down below. And Melisha, you've just been a wonderful friend to me, and I believe in you so much, and I'm just so glad that we've connected those years ago.
Oh, me too. Exactly. And you helped me believe in myself for sure. For sure. And I value our friendship too. So this has been nice to be able to do this with somebody that I love. So
I we Yes,
I
I love you
know,
very
I
much.
know. All righty.
All right, well, thank you, and thank you everybody for watching. Toodaloo.
Bye.